Hello there, and welcome to the show, and today I'm going to be talking about Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was the most recent film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the 36th overall film in the MCU, as well as the final film of Phase 5 of the MCU, which hasn't had the most impressive track record. I had zero interest in Thunderbolts, much like Captain America Brave New World. To me, this film had no hype, no excitement. I wasn't looking forward to this film. I actually kind of forgot about Thunderbolts for a while. I remembered that it was coming out in cinemas, and I went out and watched it, and let's talk about it. So the story of Thunderbolts is that Elaine from Seinfeld, and yes, I'm sure her character has a name, but I can't remember what it is. So Elaine from Seinfeld is under investigation by the federal government. So she sends a Black Widow, Taskmaster, US agent, and Ghost to a Black Ops site to have them all kill each other and then incinerate the evidence. But they realize what's going on. While there, they meet Bob. Then it basically becomes a revenge/rescue mission that also involves Red Guardian and Winter Soldier. Like I mentioned, I had zero interest in this film. When I heard the premise of Thunderbolts, this sounded like discount Suicide Squad. I was expecting to be bored out of my mind, but I gotta say, I surprisingly enjoyed Thunderbolts. I thought for the most part that this was a pretty entertaining film. I want to preface that by saying there isn't a lot of character depth or character arcs in this movie. Winter Soldier doesn't really have much to do in this film aside from being the most recognizable character in the movie. Yelena, they're trying to make her the new Black Widow, but it's never gonna happen. Ghost, I barely remember Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. She doesn't really have a character. Ghost will always be from Iron Man Armored Adventures. I really liked how that show portrayed Ghost. Taskmaster in the MCU is an abomination, complete night and day from the comics. I really don't get why they chose to go this route with Taskmaster. So there's not a lot of character arcs. I felt that David Harbour as Red Guardian delivered a very entertaining performance. David Harbour, I like the way he portrays Red Guardian. A little obnoxious, but pretty entertaining. To me, the best performance in this film is no doubt Lewis Pullman as Bob/Sentry/Void. Now, I don't know a lot about Sentry/Void, and if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that this is his first appearance in a major form of media. I don't think he's been in any shows or animated series or any movies prior to this, but the way Lewis Pullman portrayed him and his story, I actually really liked it. And for the first 2/3 of this film, I thought that he was one of the best elements of this film. Also, the film doesn't overly rely on CGI fight scenes. There's quite a bit of hand-to-hand fight scenes, although there is CGI incorporated in there, and the first hallway fight is pretty lame, but I can appreciate that they didn't over-rely on CGI up until the third act. Thunderbolts, to me, is pretty much what you would expect from an MCU film, has all the things you would expect, and if you like the MCU, you will like Thunderbolts. If you don't like the MCU, you won't like the Thunderbolts. I laughed quite a bit in this film. A decent amount of the comedy was pretty funny, some of it not so much. Although the characters didn't have a lot of depth, I did like the way some of them were presented. Bob/Sentry was presented really well. I also like how the film presented US Agent, expanding his character from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The first 2/3, in my opinion, were pretty entertaining. Simple storyline. Fate of the world was not at stake. It's just simple, concise, to the point. Some decent action, some decent laughs. Then we get to the third act. To me, that's when the film started to decline. There's a fight at Avengers Tower between the Thunderbolts and Sentry. And to me, that fight was pretty entertaining. Afterwards, Sentry turns on Elaine from Seinfeld, and she double crosses him, but then he comes back, and then he turns into Void, and he tries to consume the world in shadows. And the final battle between Void, the Thunderbolts, and Bob felt very anticlimactic. It's kind of the opposite of Captain America Brave New World, where the final fight was the best part of the film, and the final fight here is weakest. So I wasn't a big fan of the final act, and the way the film ends felt a little rushed in my opinion. I am a little confused about how the timelines add up because there is a time jump between the ending of this film and the mid-credit scene. At the end of the film, after Void is defeated and Bob is brought back, the Thunderbolts go after Elaine and she set up a press conference somehow, and she reveals the Thunderbolts as the new Avengers, and the post-credit scene basically showcases how the world reacted to that, and then we see the Fantastic Car in orbit setting up Fantastic Four, the first steps. And there's a 14-month time skip between the ending of this film and that mid-credit scene. So that is quite the leap. So I'm a little confused about how the timelines are supposed to add up. I feel that Thunderbolts, the first 2/3 of it, pretty entertaining. The film has decent action, decent comedy, tells a simple storyline, and for the most part, it's pretty entertaining. The third act kind of falls off the rails a little bit, but as an overall, this is better than Captain America Brave New World in my opinion, better than The Marvels and Quantumania, which looking at the 6 films that were released in Phase 5, 6 films. 2 were terrible, 1 was mid, 1 was above average, and 2 were good. Ranking these 6 films of Phase 5 of the MCU, Quantumania, The Marvels, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Deadpool and Wolverine. 2 bad films, 1 middle-of-the-road film, 1 above-average film, and 2 great films. That is my ranking of Phase 5 of the MCU. Even though I stated that I enjoyed Thunderbolts while watching it, I gotta say, it's been 2 days since I watched this film in cinemas, and I am struggling to remember anything that happened. So this film isn't the most memorable. It's definitely well made, it's got entertaining moments, but not the greatest thing in the world. I think for the most part, it's a solid action film, and that is the best description I can give to Thunderbolts. It's a decent film, but not the greatest film. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Instagram at Said_2000, and I will see you on the next video. Till then, take care.